Hello, everybody. It's Peter and Sylvia, and we want your attention because we are attention seeking people, aren't we? And this is exactly the topic for today. It is attention seeking. So, Sylvia, let me just explain why I think we should have a chat about this. And that's because I had a request from a client. In this case, it's a young 16-year-old girl, and she is self-harming. She is having trouble in a number of ways, but her parents call her self-harm attention seeking. They do not seem to be interested in why she self-harms. It's just attention seeking. So how on earth do we get from, that's a big jump, isn't it? From, oh, my daughter is self-harming. I don't know yet in what way, but other clients I've had have been cutting themselves in places, to saying self-harm, aha, it's attention seeking. That's a diagnosis and a half, isn't it?
And as you say, it's a huge leap, and it's something that's often I've sort of wondered or been fascinated by as to why, when someone hears the word or someone's self-harming, or even or they've tried to take their own life, they've immediately gone to in my opinion, the extreme of their attention seeking. I know we're generalizing here, but they jump to that conclusion rather than, oh, why do they do that? What's going on for them? And even if they do go, they're attention seeking, that's like a statement. It ends there. It's not their attention seeking. What do we do about that? But where has that come from is the question. And perhaps that's the barrier to be broken down, that if someone does certain things, people's automatic default position is attention seeking. Where has that come from, that they've put those two and two together and come up with that? It's a fascination. It's that sort of perception. It's where it's come from that's interesting, that perception. But even if it has, there's in your case there with your young lady, the parents, oh, she's attention seeking, he's attention seeking, or they, whoever it may be. It's a case of, but then what do we do about it? But to end with that statement, they're attention seeking, there's going to be no progress, there's going to be no change, there's no improvement, no recovery, unless we start to think differently, as we often talk about, Peter.
I think we end up with that jump and just brush it off as attention seeking for some kind of fear that, let's just take those parents. They don't want to have a daughter who has mental health issues. So they push it away by saying, oh, she's just a teenager, she's just attention seeking. Of course, I haven't spoken to the parents, so I actually don't know. But we get this, oh, it's just attention seeking in so many ways. And I think it's a protection mechanism to avoid dealing with the problem. It's the same thing when someone attempts to take their own life and they get found, and oh yeah, but they just wanted to be found. It's just a cry for help. It's the thing that we have probably been taught somewhere, somehow, that these things don't exist. It's just all imagination. It's just attention seeking. And then if we believe that, it's easy. You can just walk away from it.
It becomes a learned belief, as we've spoken before, a learned behavior, a learned belief. And also picking up on the point you just said there, perhaps it's almost like a defense, a deflection mechanism. They're just attention seeking, i.e. almost like batting it back, rather than, what do I need to do about this? What can I do about this? What part did I play in this? What can I do to make this different, better, change? It's very easy to bat it away rather than take it on board and take some action. And I think there is definitely an element of protection, fear, that fear of, crikey, my child is doing that. What do I do as a parent? And that, not having that skill, and of course they wouldn't have that skill or knowledge how to deal with that. But then rather than deflecting it, find out what you do to support your child or whoever it is that's self-harming or trying to take their own life.
And I think what you said there is part of the problem of now being so open about how we feel about mental health issues of whatever nature they may be, that we've become rather good at that part. But receiving the messages that I'm not feeling well, that part we haven't got to yet, because not everybody out there is a trained therapist, and not everybody out there should be. But it's as if we know how to send the message, how to talk about it, but we don't know how to receive that message and what to do about it. And then people go into defensive mode and say, I don't know how to do this. I'm afraid of doing something wrong, or I don't want to believe this is happening. So I'll just put up this little wall of blanket statement that says, it's just attention seeking. I know best. It's attention seeking. Then I don't need to deal with it. You're not getting my attention. And then that person self-harming or wanting to end their life, whatever the case may be, really wants some quality attention. I can imagine this 16-year-old girl. I don't know whether she would become a client or not, because I need parental consent to work with her.
Yeah.
So there's a huge problem there already. But I can imagine she has a story she just wants to tell somebody, and not necessarily an awful lot else. Just be listened to, as we've talked about so many times, you and I. Someone who just cares to listen.
There's a phrase I've heard quite a lot over the last few years: instead of attention seeking, attention needing. Like there, your 16-year-old young lady there, she obviously needs attention of some sort. And we talk about, people batting it back and not knowing what to do. Quite often it's the simplest of things, is having a conversation. As you say, parents aren't trained therapists, but we all have the art of speaking, and having a conversation, listening, hearing what someone has to say, believing what they say, and not necessarily understanding, but we can always accept if someone's struggling with something. It's not really that difficult, but it's something that's so simple seems to have become difficult for many people. And I think this attention needing is quite a neat shift away from attention seeking, because as you say, even if it is attention seeking, they are seeking someone's attention. They want something to happen. And then if that person is doing something to get the attention, whether it's attention seeking or attention needing, they're still wanting attention of some sort. And they deserve, in my opinion, that person, whoever it is they're talking to give them that attention, to give them that space to share what's going on for them, or to say what's going on for them. Even if they don't understand it, sometimes all we need to do is listen.
And this, as I'm listening to this attention seeking to attention needing, well, that moves into the area of loneliness as well, doesn't it? Because when we need attention of a certain kind, that doesn't mean that we just sort of a needy person just wants something, but it means there is something, there's a gap that needs to be filled by something of quality. And people who are lonely do not have that. So of course they do need attention. We all do. We all need some human interaction. Research, as I've said so many times, suggests that we need about 6 hours of human interaction every day to feel good, or just feel our normal selves. And if you haven't got that, if the only person you can talk to if you want to is a lady at the checkout in the supermarket, then yes, you do need attention, but you probably also want it.
Yes.
So need and want and seeking, it's a good old mix, isn't it, where we have to get the balance right, as always.
Because as you were talking there, we were talking about the shift from attention seeking to attention needing, but there is also a want. We want some attention, and that's not in a it's all about me, let's put me in the spotlight type of act. If someone's got something that's not quite right for them, or they're not okay, you know what they're doing, they want some attention, and the word in itself is attention, can be very mean different things for different people, but they're wanting and needing, seeking something. So perhaps it's for us as human beings to sort of break down this perception of what attention seeking, attention needing, wanting, what attention is, because they need and want something. We need to pay them some time, give them that space to focus on them. You know, it's the words we speak say volumes, you know, and it's attention is like, oh yeah, attention seeker, you know, put themselves in the limelight. No, they want for something from you.
and if we talk about attention seeking in the way you just portrayed it, yeah, it's a very judgmental and negative position to take.
Yes.
And I think when you take that position, you're protecting yourself from getting involved, from having to deal with something. And that could be out of I couldn't care attitude, or out of I don't know how to, or it could be because I wonder what I get myself into. Can I complete what I start? Because I don't feel equipped to do this. So it's so easy to just close somebody down and say, oh, you're just attention seeking. You're just being selfish. When all that says to the person, well, you're not worthy of attention.
Yeah.
And that's probably the worst thing you can do.
Yeah. And picking up on that, that's one of the things that was going through my head as you was talking there, is what impact does that response have on the person who is actually wanting, needing, seeking, would like some attention in some way for whatever reason? What impact does that have? That shutdown, that almost telling that person to go away, you're not worthy to be heard, all those type of things. You know, it takes, as you and I, from our experiences, it takes, in my opinion, a lot of guts and bravery to actually put your hand up in when you're in that situation. But the biggest hurdle is then, what do you do with it? And then, you know, you reach out for help and someone shuts you down like that. What's the impact does that have on the other person? And sometimes the person who says you're attention seeking, perhaps, and this might sound quite controversial, perhaps they're also the selfish ones, because they're protecting themselves, not leaning in to find out what's going on for the other person. They are looking after themselves rather than thinking about the impact of their own reactions and responses and behaviours that have on that person who has reached out in that way.
I think that is a thought that's difficult to follow up, because it's a quite stark thought, and I totally agree with it. That could be what's happening. So why don't we ask people to comment on this?
Yes,
and say what do you think about attention seeking?
Yeah.
Are you the one who says that, oh, you're just attention seeking? Have you been met with it? Or do you think we have missed something completely in this conversation? Let us know what you think, and thank you so much for watching. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.